Welcome back. It's a few days later. If you didn't put that together, you may notice something's missing. It's Gavin. He's not with us today. He's a little bit sick. So I'm gonna try and get these short little walls and put them together, stand them up, and we'll do the windows when I got everybody back. Also, I've been told that I'm unrecognizable lately. I think it's because I put the suspenders back on my tool belt. So I'm excited to try that out. Let's see how it works. I'm not always super good at remembering my eye protection, but fortunately, all the crap that blows into your eyeballs is a good reminder. All right, so on these little short walls, especially when they're, one sheet or maybe just over, rather than measuring the corners like we do on the big walls, racking them straight and sheeting them to hold it, we can actually use the sheet of plywood like a square. So on this one in particular, it is about 44 inches. So we line this edge up here and the bottom like a square, shoot it off just down that edge, and I can beat it in and out on the other side to make it square. Should be in pretty good shape. I like these little 4-foot walls. They're a lot easier to stand up. With these little short walls, I want to make sure they're square. The layout lines are one thing, but you can see down here with the square, this thing is way off. So we just pinch the two walls together, and we're going to use just a framing square because it is so short. We'll be able to tweak some of this a little more in its final stages, but it's important to get it close now because when we measure for this other wall, we want it to be in the right place. Screwed the pooch on this. All of these walls, the top plate, this part here gets doubled up. So we let the plywood stick 1.5 inches up, except for this wall that I'm pointing to because we forgot to do it. But all the other ones, we got it right. The problem is on this one, the plywood has to stick out to slide past this wall so you can tie them together when it gets set up. And I've got that here, which means that needs to be the end where it sticks up 1.5 inches. Of course, I did it down here because I didn't pay attention. I didn't on these, but I got lucky on both of them because I paid zero attention to it. So I'm gonna zip this bottom up and stand it up. This wall already doesn't have the 1.5 inches up. We could put a strip in later, make it up with the siding. Not a terribly big deal, just a dumb mistake, and apparently 30 years experience is not enough to eliminate those. Let's cut it apart and fix the problem. This wall is a little different than this one because it has a door in it. We have to put a stud on each end of the wall. We have to put one on what will be the inside of the wall. So basically we have a stud here in the end, and we have one here so that we have something to nail the sheeting to. We have to do the same on the other side here, and one on either side of the door. It only takes these six studs in a 50-inch wall, but where we're gonna run into a little bit of an issue is now we start the plywood there, and we come to 48 inches, which breaks right like a third of the way onto this stud. Well, the wall's right here. So rather than putting a 1/2-inch strip, I think I'm gonna fudge this plywood about 3/8 of an inch over, maybe split the difference between that stud and this. And then I don't think we'll put a strip in it. By the time we wrap this all with the, I'm gonna call it zip tape, whatever Georgia Pacific calls theirs, put some on the inside corner, trim board, siding, whatever, you'll never know. But that'll keep, we won't even have to cut this sheet. I do have to cut the top of it. I do have to cut this side, let it overhang so we don't screw it up like the last one. Helps to lay the wall out where it's gonna go and how it's gonna stand up instead of building it out in the middle. Hey, look over here real quick, if I can babble for a minute. This nail right here, as you shoot these big long nails into the wood, wood's got grain to it, it's made out of a tree. This nail just decided to go whoop and shoot right out the top. Same with this one here, shot out the side. So it is super tempting when you're lining these up to hold them here and nail them like that. But as you can see here and here, you are way better off to keep your hand far enough out of the way that if a nail takes off, and that'll happen, well, this once or twice on a 5-foot wall. There's 100 foot of wall here. That's a lot of chances to shoot a nail through your hand. If it's well out of the way, it'll never happen. So we want this wall, obviously, to go between these two, but the sheeting is gonna come down the wall and wrap around this one and butt into here. I wound up butting the inside of the plywood there because that's where it's gonna start. Out here, I'm gonna mark my 16s. So below the windows, these two spaces are windows, and anywhere else, I'm gonna need studs that break. You're gonna see how this pans out. That's all the walls. So when we got Gavin back and we're here next time, we'll sheet this wall. We've got to plumb up the two short ones. We'll finish the sheeting in the corners back there. We'll have to figure out door height, put in a header at least some blocking in the top, and we'll cut that plywood out. A little bit of messing around, and we're gonna double up all these top plates. And we get to start on the timber framed roof structure. That'll be pretty awesome. I'm more excited for that. It's a little more interesting than putzing around with plywood and 2x4s. That's done a lot of that. So it'll be fun to get on to something new and exciting, and hopefully you guys will come along as well. See you then.